Hey guys, King of Charmass here, and today I bring to you a test on the most powerful team in Open Ultra League statistically that actually doesn't have any XL Pokemon on it. As you see here, Obstagoon, Cresselia, and Gengar. This is a very high pressure chip team, which really weirded me out because I was this team is really great across the board as it's very spammy. If you get the boost with Obstagoon, it goes to town on a lot of things, and with Cresselia and Future Sight, you can cover Talonflame. Gengar is also an incredibly powerful closer, especially if shields are down. As you see here, statistically very powerful, and a pretty low threat score as well, with the only big threat to your entire team being an Articuno. Fighter leads can also threaten, however, with Cresselia and Gengar, you have double coverage against things like Machamp or Surfetch'd, etc. As you see, it's a really good team, so I really wanted to try out for this video, and if it's not to... It does require you to have a Cresselia, however, the Cresselia in question is actually a Future Sight Moonblast Cresselia. So this Cresselia doesn't have Legacy Grass Knot. So you might be able to access this team. I have Grass Knot for my Cresselia just because I don't want to Elite TM it back, so I'm going to keep the moves that I have. However, the reason why you have Moonblast is to cover those Dark type / Obstagoon. So this is a very powerful team as you see across the board, and I want to try it out as it is statistically the most powerful team in Open Ultra League as of right now. Alright, so we have our first match here. Now, these are actually going to be sped up because Ultra matches can be quite long. As you see, I got Obstagoon on Obstagoon. So the good thing about having a crappy Obstagoon is that you can essentially just make it to where you win CMP. As you see, I win CMP. Now, here's the tricky part about the mirror. IVs are very, iffy when you get to the mirror because you can kind of simultaneously knock each other out. So you're going to see that happen here. As you see here, we're going to try... I'm going to keep cross-chopping as I win CMP, but me and my opponent are essentially just going to, blast both of our shields. And it's gonna be very iffy. Yes, I'm in the red, my opponent is in the yellow. However, if you see here, 1, 2, 3, and we get simultaneous knockout. Then it comes down to whoever picks correctly. As you see here, I'm gonna send in my Gengar because Gengar has a general better neutral matchup against a lot of things, unless I happen to get, unless they send in a Snorlax, then I'm screwed. As you see here, they send in a Melmetal, which is actually really good. So, I'm going to get Rock Slide. It does big damage. However, I should be able to get to a Shadow Ball. Now, here's what kind of sucks. This doesn't actually KO. I'm going to fire off the Shadow Ball, and as you see here, it barely lives. My opponent, I switch into my Cresselia because I'm like, okay, you know what? I can try to do something fancy here. I'm going to straight Grass Knot. I have that energy lead, so this is actually really good for me. You want an energy lead on your opponent's Cresselia because you can straight Grass Knot. If you don't have Moonblast like I have here, the recommended moveset is actually Moonblast Future Sight, but I keep Grass Knot because I don't want to take off my Legacy move. It's a Legacy move, I'm not going to Elite TM it for Moonblast. I also like Grass Knot because it helps you better in the mirror unless they debuff you, because you could just straight Grass Knot. As you see here, Grass Knot is doing a lot of chip damage. They keep Moonblasting me, however, they don't get the debuff, which is actually really good because one debuff will essentially flip this match. Yes, I can switch into Gengar, however, Gengar is really hurt right now. So we're just going to keep on Grass Knot. Literally, Death by Grass Knot. This is the greatest mirror of all time. The duck-on-duck action. So freaking amazing. My opponent switches into a Melmetal. I switch into my Gengar, trying to, basically force my opponent to switch into a Melmetal, and I'm going to go farm down. Now, this was really tricky because if I didn't farm down, I likely would have lost this match. But as you see, we do get the holistic farm down. That Shadow Claw that went through the Melmetal was actually really useful. So, as you see here, I do get to 2 Grass Knots, and that's GG's. This was a pretty sweaty match because I had to really, time it correctly. I kind of, that's a really advanced strategy, but I kind of fooled my opponent into, going to me, because I knew my win con would be, I would have to double Grass Knot that Cresselia did. For our next match, we get Obstagoon on Swampert. This is great for us. Well, it's not really that great, to be honest with you, because Swampert does a ton of damage with Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon is one of the most overpowered charge moves in the game, and unless we get the boost, it is going to be a little sweaty here. I always eat the first Hydro Cannon, even if it's a Shadow, just because you can live the first one, and then I'm going to Night Slash. The reason I do this is because my opponent knows it's not going to KO. Night Slash will not kill, so now you're kind of like stuck in this really bad situation because Swampert will actually outpace you with these Hydro Cannons. Swampert's order is 5-4-5 as far as matchup goes. That's the counts. Yours is 5-5-5 no matter what you do, just because of energy generation. So with that lesson being here is I will have to pop both shields here. So I'm either going to come out of this by winning switch, or my opponent is just going to switch into their Mon as you see here and catch a Night Slash, which was very impressive on their part. They catch a Night Slash on the Machamp, which is really good on their part, and I'm praying that this Machamp doesn't have payback. Because if it does have payback, my poor Gengar will die. As you see here, I do go for the Shadow Punch and hopefully I bait the shield. I do not. This is okay though because I can farm down if this isn't a payback. It is not. It's a Rock Slide, which is really, really good. So I should be able to farm down here, and then I should be able to have enough energy for a Shadow Punch. My opponent's either going to shield here or just going to let Swampert go. I don't want to risk it because Swampert is that Swampert can have mad energy, and they switch into a Melmetal as their back row. This Melmetal still has a shield, so this is kind of sweaty. So I'm going to have to really finesse my way into this. As you see, I fire the Shadow Punch. My opponent does rightfully shield because it's going to do more damage than possibly what would I have in the back. As you see here, I switch into my Cresselia, and I should be able to win this match. Rock Slide doesn't do big damage. I should be able to win just straight Grass Knot, because just the way the Melmetal has chip damage. If you're able to measure HP range, especially at Ultra League, you can kind of figure out your win cons ahead of time. In my case, all I have to do is really get 2 or 3 Grass Knots on this Melmetal, and that's GG's. And I still have an Obstagoon to sack. So guess what I do? I catch it perfectly. I time it right on the right interval. And I managed to catch the Rock Slide on my Obstagoon. That pretty much seals my win con here. I will double up to 2 Grass Knots just in case. And that will be GG's. But as you saw there, that was a really sexy swap. Like, when it comes to Melmetal, the reason why it's so difficult to sack on really fast-charging mons like Melmetal or like Swampert is because if your opponent is a really good player, like this guy is right here, they'll time their intervals. So it's very hard to catch your opponent on their interval. So I managed to catch it on their interval, and now all I have to do is double Grass Knot, and that's GG's. As you see, that was a really sweaty match. The timer just popped up, so I could tell you just how, like, yeah. My basic win condition was to sack that Obstagoon because I couldn't take that Rock Slide. For the next match, we got Giratina versus our Obstagoon. So this is actually a good matchup for us, only if it is a Shadow Claw Giratina. And my opponent catches me on the swap, which was really good, nice. But this is okay for us because I want chip on this Swampert anyways. I send in Gengar, and Gengar is a heavy threat for my opponent, so I can probably bank that they're going to shield the Shadow Punch. If it goes through, I can possibly farm down, and my opponent does shield. Now I'm going to do something really dumb here for science. I thought I could get another Shadow Claw, but as you see, it just didn't go off. So, yeah. I need to get a Shadow Punch there, but you know, it's okay. You know what? You make mistakes, you can possibly still come back with a W. Now we made it really sweaty on ourselves. Our opponent lands a whole Earthquake, and now they're going to land another move because they got a Hydro Cannon and that was CMP. So, yeah. My Cresselia is basically almost dead, and I have an Obstagoon with 2 shields. So because I was CMP, I'm just going to fully undercharge here, hoping that I get some energy back, and I do. So that's the good part. I managed to get some energy back. Now, my opponent doesn't know if this is a Moonblast Cresselia, so as long as I can get the Future Sight, 1, I'm going to do big damage, or 2, I can get a Moonblast, and hopefully this is not a Shadow Sneak, and it's not. It's not a Shadow Sneak. A Cresselia can tank a Dragon Claw at that range, so this Future Sight's going to go off, and my opponent does shield it, which is great, because now we have an Obstagoon with 2 shields. So if my opponent doesn't switch out, I can probably still come back with the W. As you see, my opponent doesn't switch out. So I can assume that whatever they have in the back is weak to Obstagoon, or Obstagoon can win against it. Now, as you see, I'm Night Slashing my life away, and I haven't gotten a single boost yet. I'm not praying for the boost, though, because I'm still pretty comfortable right now. I have 2 shields, and because they're not switching in Amon, I can pretty much assure that Obstagoon has a chance, and it does. So it's a Cresselia. So here's what sucks. This Cresselia probably has Moonblast, and even though I have 2 shields, Night Slash unboosted still is going to take a lot to kill this thing. I need to fire like 4 Night Slashes. As you see, that's Night Slash number 2. My opponent I make this really sexy swap because I was like, alright, you know what? I need an extra shield, and I do. I catch the Grass Knot. I was hoping it was a Moonblast, but as you see, I make this really sexy swap, and it's swap central, and I'm really good at sack swapping. Thanks to that sack swap, I think I created a win condition for myself because since I didn't get a boost, I'm gonna have to get more, like, 4 Night Slashes off in order to take this match. As you see here, I managed to get my opponent to send in their Giratina. I will take this move because it's likely a Dragon Claw, and it is. I have a shield, but I have to manage my energy very well. That sack swap gave me a win condition, though, because now I can possibly get to 2 more Night Slashes and get the W. As you see here, I do get a Night Slash, and I finally get the boost when it doesn't matter. The timer's up right now, so all I have to do is get more and more Night Slash off. This should kill the Giratina, and then because my Obstagoon has more HP than their Cresselia, then we win. Because the timer's up, and whoever has more HP wins. As you see here, my bar is longer, so I do get the W. Really sexy swap. So that swap actually won me that match. So that was really, as you see here, these are really good battles, are just really good. A really good way for you to see just how powerful my sacking abilities are. We get Obama Snow into our Obstagoon. That's great for us because we do win that lead. They switch into their Talonflame immediately. As you see here, I will go straight for the Night Slash. I want some chip on here, and then I'm going to send in my Cresselia. So the reason I'm sending in Cresselia is because what I'm going to do here is essentially I'm trying to finesse my opponent. They switched into me, so as you see, I'm not going to use a shield right away because I can probably bank that's going to be a Flame Charge, and I'm correct. I will not shield my Cresselia here. As you see, they're going to keep flame charging me because they're locked into me. So my opponent does have more pressure on them than I do, so they're not going to burb right away. But this is some very advanced gameplay here. As you see here, I will Future Sight, and they do shield. This is kind of terrible. I fire the Grass Knot, as you see here. However, because my opponent saw Future Sight, they're likely going to shield. I will shield this Flame Charge. I will get this Grass Knot off. I did this just in case the Incinerate that goes through would probably kill me. Then I swap in a Gengar, as you see here, and try to catch them on a CMP, and I do. This was CMP, this Shadow Punch will KO, and I come out of here with a great advantage. I have a Giratina, and I still have a shield. My opponent's probably going to switch out here, though. I will shield this, but my opponent's likely going to switch out. They just did that charge move to slow down the game, and as you see, they do switch into their Abomasnow. I'm going to get this Shadow Punch off. I'm going to try to get to another one, and I do. So, 2 back-to-back Shadow Punches. As you see here, this was a really great play. I didn't really consciously think about this. Just like, yeah, it was kind of like really sweet. But now we should be able to send in Cresselia to sponge the damage. As you see, I'm sending in Cresselia because I want my opponent to blow their energy. I don't want my Obstagoon to take too much damage. So, my Obstagoon is going to farm down this Abomasnow because I know they have that Giratina. So, I would rather... So, as you see, I'm able to fully farm down. And now I have to get 2 Night Slashes off to take out this Giratina. Actually, I think I have to do 3. So, the reason I'm doing this is because it's a lot safer for me to just give up on my Cresselia than to have my Cresselia go against this Giratina because they can farm me down. So... You don't want your opponent to farm you, so I would have rather had my Giratina not get farmed, that's why, and just sponge the energy from that Obstagoon. As you see here, I will queue up to 2. This is where Expert Energy Management comes into play. And then my opponent will get this off. This is likely a Dragon Claw, though. Dragon Claw does not kill at this range. I should be able to get to another Night Slash, and that's GG's, as you see here. Being very confident in your ability to take damage, or just knowing your matchups and how much damage charge moves do, gives you a huge advantage in Go Battle League, and it does me well here. And that's GG's. Again, really good battle. That was a really sweaty battle, because as you saw there, I made mistakes were made, but I still managed to come out with a W. As you see here, I get a Veteran into versus me, so this is going to be really sweaty. As you see here, I get Obstagoon into Cresselia. So this isn't necessarily the greatest thing on Earth. This is actually a great matchup for us because if this Cresselia is carrying Moonblast, I'm actually in trouble because Night Slash doesn't do a lot of damage. As you see here, we're pretty... my opponent's pretty healthy right now. So we're going to fire their Moonblast. I will shield. You always want to shield because the only reason your opponent is staying in is because they have Moonblast, and they do. So because my opponent's Moonblast, I will shield, and I'm going to keep Night Slashing because I get the boost! Which is perfect because that's what you really want to bank for. So now I'm going to Night Slash my life away. And even if I didn't get the boost, I could still double shield here, and then I can still possibly force, because a 1 Moonblast won't kill at this range. I basically want switch because, I actually want shields down because Gengar does very well in the closer. That's why I want shields down. As you see, I'm able to just Night Slash my life away. I will Night Slash again, but I'm timing it correctly so my opponent doesn't get an extra move in, which is perfectly placed here. As you see here, I get another Night Slash off, my opponent will shield because this does big damage. Now, whether it's a Brave Bird or a Flame Charge, I'll still be able to live, barely, and I can get to another Night Slash, and I do. My opponent switches to Giratina, but this is a mistake by them because this is going to do big damage. As you see here, Night Slash does big damage, almost takes out half of the Giratina's HP, and I might be able to get to another one, just because I triple resist these Shadow Claws. Don't have a Shadow Claw Giratina into an Obstagoon, because as you see here, it can take a lot of damage. I send in my Gengar. Even if my Gengar does go down, it's perfectly fine, because I still have a full Cresselia for their back row, and I should be able to get to a Shadow Punch, as you see here. I take out this Giratina with my Gengar, I send in my Cresselia, and I'm going to Future Sight the poor bird. And that should be GG's. After I fire this Future Sight, this should KO. As you see, I'm just overcharging a little bit just to time it right, because I'm going to fire the Future Sight. This should kill my opponents. This should take it out. Or get close to it anyways. I should have waited for them to burb, however, I can just, my idea was to just Future Sight and then Grass Knot, because a Grass Knot will KO at this range. So, as you see here, go for the Grass Knot. I should KO GG's. Very GG's by my opponent. As you see, very sweaty battles. I did boost, but you already won the lead pretty hard, man, because you already had Moonblast. So that is GG's. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is a really good team. Like, it's really well put together. It kind of sucks if you do see like an Umbreon or like a Dark type in the back. But generally, if you are able to wipe out Umbreon, or that's what Moonblast is for with Cresselia, you could take out Umbreon. However, this team it's actually really good. Like, as you see, it performs really well. Some of them you have to be really fancy, but if you play this team correctly, and if you're really good with energy, I say this team really banks on having good energy management, as well as good awareness on, like, switching out, switching in, etc. I hope you guys enjoy this team. Does really well, I think, but it's very difficult to play. So, like, if you want to play this team, like I said, it's a very difficult team to play. So if you do play it, I would practice a little bit on, like, PV Poké with your friends if you plan on using it. But with Go Battle League, with Ultra League ending pretty soon, it can still probably work for the next season. But again, like, it's a very good team. And it doesn't require a lot of resources. Your biggest resource is probably Cresselia, but Cresselia is still cheaper in my opinion. Like, if you look at objectively how much you would spend on Cresselia versus what you would actually spend on an XL Pokemon. So this team doesn't have any XL Pokemon. Cresselia has been out for a minute, so you likely have one. If you don't have one with Moonblast, if you only have the Grass Knot one, don't take out Grass Knot. Use a different team. But if you do have one, this team can catch you some W's, especially if you get the boost on Obstagoon pretty consistently. I hope you guys enjoyed the video again. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video. Ciao!